"Get out, you're fired." Anya's voice, usually a calm murmur, roared through her Seattle penthouse, cutting through the polished silence like a sonic boom. Her dark eyes, usually sharp with executive precision, blazed with an intensity that made the very air crackle as she confronted Mr. Henderson, the stern, impeccably dressed manager who had dared to dismiss Finn, the gentleman whose quiet presence had brought the first spark of life back into her daughter's fragile, silent world. Anya's hand trembled, not with fear, but with a righteous fury she hadn't felt in years, recognizing the familiar chill of prejudice in Henderson's smug expression. Welcome to a story of unexpected connections, profound healing, and a love that defies expectations and the rigid structures of society. It's a tale of how a melody can break a silence, and how acceptance can shatter walls. Where are you watching from? Drop your city in the comments and tell us, will the echoes of grief and judgment win, or is a melody about to change everything forever? The penthouse atop Seattle's skyline was less a home and more a monument to Anya Vanguard's success, a labyrinth of steel and glass framing Puget Sound's moody expanse under a perpetually overcast sky. At 36, Anya, a brilliant white tech CEO, had built an empire, Caldwell Technologies, valued in the billions. Yet, her home felt like a gilded cage, its opulence a stark contrast to the emptiness within. 8 years prior, a tragic car accident had claimed her partner, Liam, leaving her then-infant daughter, Zara, with a profound silence, later diagnosed as selective mutism. The guilt had coiled around Anya's heart like a viper, turning it to stone. Her life became a relentless pursuit of work, boardrooms, algorithms, acquisitions, anything to outrun the pain that gnawed at her every waking moment. The penthouse gleamed with cold precision, every surface a mirror reflecting her own hardened resolve. The digital clock ticked in relentless silence, mocking the absence of laughter. Zara, now 8, had her mother's fierce dark eyes but expressed herself only through intricate drawings. Her world was confined to pencil strokes and the penthouse's cold walls. Nannies came and went, their starched uniforms and impatient sighs no match for Zara's voiceless world. They fed her, dressed her, but never truly saw her, not the way a child craved to be seen. Anya, consumed by her empire, saw Zara's mutism as a constant, painful reminder of the accident she blamed herself for, a visible wound that would never heal. She had locked away all of Liam's photographs, fearing the memories, and Zara's bedroom, though filled with expensive toys, felt like a museum, each item pristine, untouched, and unloved. Mr. Henderson, the penthouse manager, ruled with an iron fist, his efficiency masking a deep-seated disdain for anything that disrupted the rigid order he had meticulously established. In his late 40s, his tailored suits were always crisp, his movements precise, his clipboard a scepter of his unyielding authority. He prided himself on the sterile perfection of the household, a reflection of Anya's own emotional detachment. He saw Zara's silence as a minor inconvenience, a flaw in the otherwise flawless machinery of the household, often snapping at her to sit still, or don't make a mess, his voice cutting through the fragile quiet Zara inhabited. Henderson believed deeply in maintaining the strict hierarchy of the household, where staff knew their place and certainly didn't form emotional bonds with the family. Into this sterile world, like a soft-spoken rebellion, arrived Finn. A 28-year-old black man hired as a housekeeper. His resume was sparse, odd jobs, a short stint volunteering at a community music program, but his blue eyes held a quiet warmth, an almost sorrowful depth. A worn guitar case often leaned against his canvas bag, hinting at a hidden passion. He moved with a subtle grace, his footsteps light on the marble floors, his soft humming a stark contrast to the penthouse's perpetual silence. Zara, perched on the staircase, sketching a lone, faceless figure, watched him. Her sketchpad momentarily forgotten, her small body tensed, not in fear, but in an unfamiliar curiosity. Mr. Henderson, with his crisp suit and clipboard, barked instructions. Wipe down these counters, polish these surfaces until they gleam. No shortcuts. His gaze lingered on Finn with an almost imperceptible sneer, a judgment of the worn clothes, the gentle demeanor. Finn simply nodded, his smile serene, unbothered by the implicit condescension. But then his eyes, quick and observant, caught Zara's. A flicker of understanding passed between them, and he offered a small, knowing wave, a gesture of quiet camaraderie. Zara, unaccustomed to such direct, gentle acknowledgement from a stranger, froze, then ducked her head, a faint blush spreading across her cheeks. The cold air of the penthouse seemed to hold its breath, unaware that a quiet revolution had just entered its pristine halls. Finn moved through the penthouse not as a mere employee, but as a quiet architect of change. He transformed the cold kitchen into a canvas of warmth. He baked bread daily, its comforting aroma of yeast and flour lingering in the halls, a stark contrast to the antiseptic scent of cleaning supplies. He didn't push Zara to speak, understanding her silence. Instead, he sought her out, finding her curled with her sketchpad by the vast windows. He'd sit a respectful distance away, pull out his worn guitar, and gently strum soft, melodic tunes. He hummed children's songs, old folk melodies, and blues riffs, and Zara would draw, her pictures slowly filling with vibrant musical notes, dancing figures, and blossoming flowers. For the first time, her art wasn't just a world to escape into, but a conversation. Anya, returning late from another grueling day of meetings, often found subtle shifts. A vase of fresh, vibrant daisies sat on the dining table, replacing the perpetually wilting orchid. A note in Finn's neat handwriting might be left beside a plate of warm homemade cookies. For Zara, but save one for yourself. These small gestures pierced Anya's guarded heart, echoes of a warmth she'd buried with Liam. One evening, Anya paused at the study doorway, drawn by an unfamiliar sound, not just Zara's giggle, but genuine, unrestrained laughter, intertwined with Finn's deeper chuckles. She peered into the living room, a scene that defied the penthouse's stark minimalism. Finn and Zara had built a chaotic, sprawling pillow fort, a rebellion against the strict, sterile order. Zara, usually withdrawn and hunched, giggled freely, crowning Finn king of the cozy kingdom, her small voice a delicate chime. Anya lingered unseen, her hardened heart stirring with an unfamiliar warmth, a feeling she hadn't recognized in years. It was both unsettling and alluring. Mr. Henderson, however, observed Finn's growing influence with cold disapproval. He saw the breadcrumbs on the counter, the faint scent of baking, the misplaced cushions of the pillow fort as infractions. He saw Finn's interactions with Zara as highly unprofessional, a blue collar in a white collar role, a disruptive element that challenged his rigid authority. His almost imperceptible sneer now became more pronounced, his clipped commands to Finn sharper. He often caught Finn humming, or Zara tracing pictures with Finn sitting nearby, and would clear his throat loudly, making his presence known, a silent warning. Anya, though noticing the changes, was too consumed by her grief and work to fully acknowledge them, often brushing off Finn's impact as mere improved morale. But deep down, a tiny seed of hope, a fragile thing, was beginning to sprout in the hardened soil of her heart. The pivotal afternoon was bathed in the soft glow of a Seattle spring. Finn, unaware of Anya's presence just beyond the kitchen doorway, sat on the floor. Zara nestled beside him, her head resting on his shoulder. He strummed a slow, soulful lullaby on his guitar, his voice rich and resonant, filling the penthouse with a hauntingly beautiful melody. Zara drew, her small fingers tracing notes onto the page as she listened, completely immersed. Finn's song was "Hush, My Darling," a tune his own mother used to sing to him. As he reached the chorus, Zara, captivated, began to hum along, a fragile, almost inaudible sound that grew steadily, her small fingers tracing the rhythm onto her sketchpad. Then, a miracle. "Sing again, Finn," Zara whispered, her voice fragile, hesitant, but unmistakable. The words hung in the air, a delicate thread breaking an 8-year silence. Finn froze, his guitar clattering to the polished marble floor. His blue eyes, wide with disbelief and overwhelming joy, met Zara's. Anya, tears streaming down her face, stepped from the shadows, her hand pressed over her mouth, watching Zara, eyes wide, as Finn pulled her into a tight, tearful hug. "You spoke, baby," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion, trembling with a mixture of relief and profound connection. Anya watched, her chest tight, an ache both painful and profoundly healing. She had spent years, fortunes, and countless therapies trying to coax a word from Zara. Finn, the gentle housekeeper with a guitar, had done what years of specialists couldn't. He'd unlocked her daughter's voice, chipping away at the silent mausoleum she had built around herself and around Zara. The penthouse, for the first time, felt truly alive, echoing with the miracle of a child's voice. Anya felt the first true crack in her hardened heart, a tremor of pure, unadulterated hope. Mr. Henderson, whose office overlooked the living room, had witnessed Zara's breakthrough moment and Finn's emotional reaction. Instead of joy, a cold, calculated rage simmered within him. This housekeeper, this temp, had usurped his control, disrupted his pristine order, and worse, formed an undeniable bond with Anya's daughter, a bond he couldn't replicate or control. His disdain for Finn's unprofessional conduct and the perceived challenge to his meticulously ordered domain reached a boiling point. He decided to act immediately. With Anya away at a crucial tech summit in Silicon Valley, a summit she'd been forced to attend despite Zara's recent breakthrough, Mr. Henderson saw his opportunity. He cornered Finn in the kitchen, his voice dripping with condescension. "Your methods are highly unconventional," he stated, his crisp uniform an impenetrable shield. "You're a housekeeper, Mr. Finn. Nothing more. You clearly don't understand the decorum required in this household. Your emotional involvement with the child is inappropriate and highly disruptive." He gestured dismissively at Finn's worn guitar case, which now lay on a counter. "Pack that sad little instrument and all your belongings. You are to leave by tonight. You're done here." His tone was chillingly final, his smirk unwavering, convinced of his unchallenged authority. Finn's heart sank, a heavy stone in his chest. He loved Zara. He loved seeing her bloom, loved the fragile trust she placed in him. He wanted to argue, to fight for the little girl who had just found her voice, but Mr. Henderson's authority was absolute in Anya's absence. He nodded, resigned, his blue eyes filled with a quiet despair. He turned to his canvas bag, his hands trembling as he began to pack his few belongings. Just then, Zara, sensing the shift in the air, rushed into the kitchen, her small voice, now so precious, crying out, "Finn, don't go." Her eyes, wide with panic, darted between Finn's packed bag and Mr. Henderson's stony face. The new melody of her voice was immediately threatened, a fragile bubble about to burst. The screech of tires echoed from the drive below, a dramatic punctuation mark to Zara's desperate plea. Anya, alerted by an urgent, frantic call from her assistant who had overheard Zara's distressed cries and Mr. Henderson's cold decree, had cut short her summit, chartering a private jet back to Seattle. She stormed into the penthouse, her face etched with a fury that transformed her executive polish into raw, protective power. Her dark suit was rumpled, her hair slightly disheveled, but her eyes blazed. Zara, seeing her mother, broke free from Finn's side and ran, sobbing. "Mr. Henderson is making Finn leave. He told him to go." Anya's gaze snapped to Finn, his bag half packed, his face a picture of quiet defeat. Then her eyes landed on Mr. Henderson, whose smirk faltered, replaced by a sudden, sickening realization of his blunder. "What is going on here?" Anya demanded, her voice a low growl that vibrated through the marble floors, each word a hammer striking iron. Mr. Henderson stammered, scrambling to regain composure. "Miss Vanguard, it's just, he's a housekeeper. He doesn't understand our standards. His methods are unconventional." Anya's eyes blazed, a cold fire that withered his excuses. "Unconventional?" She roared, her voice echoing. "He gave my daughter her voice back. He broke through 8 years of silence that no one else could touch. He brought joy and life into this mausoleum you created." She pointed a trembling finger at him. "You're fired. Get out of my home, now." The words were a guillotine, final and unyielding. Mr. Henderson's clipboard clattered to the floor, his face drained of color, his authority shattered. He opened his mouth to protest, but Anya's glare silenced him more effectively than any spoken threat. His heels clicked rapidly, desperately. As he fled, the glass doors swinging shut behind him, sealing his reign over the penthouse in a single, ignominious breath. Anya turned to Finn, her fury melting into profound relief, her trembling hand reaching for his. She pulled him close, Zara clutching their legs, her sobs subsiding into quiet sniffles. "You're not going anywhere," Anya whispered, her voice thick with emotion, her dark eyes searching his. "Finn," she continued, looking into his blue eyes, "you were a music therapist, weren't you? Zara's drawings, the way you connect with her. I looked you up. I found a flyer online about a program you ran for children with selective mutism before you disappeared from the public eye." Finn, startled by the revelation, nodded slowly, his own past pain etched on his face. "Yes," he admitted, his voice barely a whisper. After I lost my own child, my daughter, 5 years ago, I couldn't continue. The music, it was too painful." Anya's eyes filled with understanding, a shared grief momentarily connecting them deeper than anything before. "Stay with us," she implored, her voice breaking, offering a lifeline. "Help us heal. Be our family." She pulled a small velvet box from her pocket, not the grand sapphire of old, but a simple silver band. "Be Zara's music, Finn. Be my peace." Weeks later, the penthouse buzzed with a nervous energy. Anya's father, Arthur Vance, a formidable pillar of Seattle's white elite, a retired judge known for his unyielding principles and impeccable taste, arrived for a family gathering. He eyed Finn, the former housekeeper now Anya's fiancé, with thinly veiled disdain. Arthur was not overtly racist. His prejudice against Finn was purely based on his perceived social class and humble background, regardless of Finn's own race. "A housekeeper, Anya? Really?" he murmured, pulling Anya aside, his voice a low, disapproving hum. "This is not the match I envisioned for you, dear. Where's his career? His standing? What will people say?" He scrutinized Finn's relaxed posture, his slightly longer hair, his worn but cherished guitar case, seeing only a lack of ambition, not depth. At dinner, the polished mahogany table gleamed under the soft lights, but the tension was palpable. Arthur pressed Finn about his future plans with an almost prosecutorial tone. Finn, with Zara nestled beside him, sensing the unspoken judgment, cleared his throat. "I used to be a music therapist, Mr. Vance," he said quietly, his voice steady despite his nervousness, specializing in helping children with communication challenges. Zara, sensing his nervousness, piped up, her voice small but clear. "He taught me to sing, Grandpa. He makes me feel brave." She then began to hum a tune Finn had taught her, a simple, sweet melody. A hush fell over the table. Arthur, surprised by Finn's revelation and Zara's clear declaration. Zara, his silent granddaughter, singing, looked at Finn with new eyes. The facade of mere housekeeper crumbled, revealing a man of profound skill, compassion, and a painful past that resonated with Anya's own. Arthur's rigid disapproval, fueled by societal expectations and classism, visibly softened into a grudging respect, a quiet acknowledgement of Finn's unexpected value. His initial judgment began to crack, replaced by the faint stirrings of admiration for the man who had brought a miracle to his granddaughter. Finn and Anya married in the penthouse garden overlooking Puget Sound, bathed in the soft glow of a late September sunset. The ceremony was intimate, surrounded by close friends, a beaming Zara, and Anya's now accepting father, Arthur, whose presence spoke volumes. Zara, in a small white dress, sang Amazing Grace alongside Finn, her voice clear and strong, a testament to her healing and their bond. Their home, once a monument to grief, now pulsed with life, light, and laughter. Finn returned to music therapy, establishing a small practice from their penthouse, dedicating himself to helping other children find their voices, carrying the lessons of his own loss into new hope. Anya, though still a brilliant CEO, found a new, profound balance. Her phone was often silenced for evenings of family laughter, for baking with Finn and Zara in a kitchen that now truly felt like a heart of the home. Challenges remained, the lingering whispers from old society friends, the occasional skeptical glance from those who valued status above soul. But the Vanguard Finn family stood as a united front, their love a vibrant testament to breaking free from past pain and societal expectations. The penthouse, transformed by Finn's gentle touch and Anya's open heart, was now a true home. The kitchen bore traces of their life, cookie crumbs, a jar of herbs from their balcony garden, and Zara's latest drawings pinned proudly to the fridge. The living room, where the pillow fort still occasionally stood, echoed with Zara's chatter, her voice a daily miracle. Anya, once a ghost in her own life, lingered longer at home, her BlackBerry forgotten as she read to Zara or simply held Finn's hand. The dining table, where they'd shared their first awkward meal, now hosted nightly dinners, Finn's soft tunes weaving through their conversations, his quiet care a thread binding them together. They faced the world's judgment not with anger, but with grace, their love a beacon, their family a testament to what endures, connection, healing, and the unexpected symphony of a resonant soul. What a journey Finn, Anya, and Zara have taken us on, from silence to song, from prejudice to profound love. What twist surprised you most? Was it Mr. Henderson's true motivation, Finn's hidden past, or Arthur's ultimate shift? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your reflections. Your presence brings these stories to life. Hit that subscribe button to catch our next unforgettable journey and share where you're watching from. Until next time, stay inspired and we'll see you soon.